today for the WCA first round of games. There is, of course, a double elimination bracket with 8 teams, and today they all play their first match. Tomorrow it will continue, but for now we're going to be in our last match of the day. Best of 3 between Vici Gaming and IG, or Invictus Gaming. Of course, I'm not by myself. I'm once again joined by Blaze. Blaze, welcome back.
Glad to be back and looking at an awesome matchup here. Vici Gaming versus Invictus Gaming. Bit of a grudge match between these two teams. Both teams in the past month have been taking matches off of one another and in some very critical confrontations as well. So I'm curious to see how the metagame has developed between these two guys, especially with 6.82 out in full force. And of course, yeah, whoever goes down here is going to be facing Titan in the lower bracket. Whoever wins will be moving up around and looking to face against Alliance. So we'll see how that pans out. But for now, the bans. The Visage will be banned out. Really scared of the Drow Visage combo from Vici. They'd like to run it all the time. But the one thing that's still in the pool is the Wisp, if Vici want to go that route. At least for now, though, they'll pick up the Death Prophet and kind of get that anchor hero to build their team around.
Yeah, Anchor Hero is definitely a good way of putting that, because she is the one that fights are going to be revolving around, not only for Vici Gaming, who are going to try to fight in her ultimate, but also for Invictus Gaming, who want to fight around her ultimate, unless they're so far ahead that they don't care that much, which I'm not going to see happen anytime soon, as Death Prophet is a very strong hero, and we've seen games in this patch just being a lot more even than they used to be. So it's all about that control. And that means that those ultimates are really important. Faces Void picked up by Vici Gaming as well. More control, and of course more teamfight potential as well. Is run as offlane as well as safe lane. Personally, I prefer him as a safe laner. And we know that Black can really make that hero, put that hero to work and make the best out of it. So hopefully we're going to see that. Viper and Lycan though by Invictus Gaming. And this shows a very mid-game oriented lineup already, which is pretty tricky because both Vici Gaming's heroes so far do need either some levels or some core items before they can be really effective.
Yeah, so a lot of emphasis on the early game aggression coming up from Invictus, but Lycan isn't the same hero as he was before the patch. He definitely has some nerfs against him, and in general, it's going to make it so that Vici have a lot more control over the game than you would normally see against a Lycan. It's no longer the, oh my gosh, they let Lycan through. Might as well just call it now because 10, 15 minutes in, the game's going to be over. But we still see that he has some potential with the right lineup to be able to do a lot of damage to the towers and be able to harass very effectively with the wolves. It's just his shapeshift is really limiting now. It's the transformation time, the lack of base attack time reduction. He in general just isn't as potent as he used to be. But that's true for multiple heroes here. A lot of flavor of the month picks in the Death Prophet and the Void, but neither one as strong as they used to be either. For now, as far as the bans progress, we do see the Invoker taken off the table, as Ice plays a really good Invoker, so does Super, and that's just a hero they don't want to have to tango with.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what they're going to be picking up here. What Vici Gaming is going to pick up here as their support duos. They have got two already fairly decent teamfight heroes. And if you want to have heroes that want to be able to be active mid-game as well, I wouldn't mind seeing something coming out from them like a Sand King, and perhaps some form of jungle hero, even though I'm not really too convinced about that one yet. But I would like to see a Sand King on the side of Vici Gaming. Coming out for IG though, I mean the same thing goes for them. They have got heroes that just need levels, not necessarily that many items, but mid-game oriented, and you want to have supports that go really well with that also have got the same kind of timing in terms of when they're really strong, and maybe even earlier to buy time, of course, to get to the mid-game point to begin with. Death Prophet is not a very easily gankable hero, but it is possible. So also for them, maybe not a Sand King, but it is going to be a Shadow Shaman, which also offers a lot of extra push coming out. And I was wondering why I didn't have sound in my game, but now I do. Yay.
So the Shadow Shaman has a lot of potential for just hard lockdown as well as great push. Obviously, the Mass Serpent Wards are going to come out here and make it very easy for them to take tier 1 towers at the very least. The tower buffs aren't going to be enough to just hold against at least these powerful tools when they're off cooldown. So the armor gains, the fortification, they're going to make it so that Invictus Gaming have a harder time taking the tier 2 towers after the tier 1s, but the first towers should still be pretty easy pickings for them if they run the lineups correctly. And it should be Viper in the mid lane and Lycan on the safe. But we have, of course, seen that flip-flopped. One really cool thing about the Shadow Shaman is that he can get a really long duration disable on the Faceless Void in the Shackles if he's in the right position. And I've seen that mess up so many different Chronosphere attempts. However, it isn't as reactive as you would look for as a different pickups like the Vengeful Spirit, which was banned out, or the Shadow Demon, which just doesn't seem to be as popular nowadays, though it still has limitless potential. But Vici Gaming, this is where it gets interesting. They're going to go for the IO Tiny. I don't think there's any way IG are going to be able to stop it. It's going to be FY and Ice playing Wisp and Tiny on the mid lane, Faceless Void at the off lane, Death Prophet at the safe, and against this, it's so hard to deal, but they've seen it before, and we'll see how they counteract it here.
Yeah, it has had some pretty positive results in the past, but it's also, as you mentioned, it is something that they have done before, so in a way you'd expect IG to be prepared for this, to be ready for this, to have something lined up that can really... remaining. I don't know, somehow disrupt Vici Gaming's plan. Talking about disrupting someone's plan, Earthshaker's a really good one for that, because his Fissure is, of course, really strong for that. It is not completely ideal, though, because Tiny can still toss people over the Fissure. Faceless Void can jump over the Fissure. Tiny can maybe blink over a Fissure if he's not hit by the Fissure, and if he is indeed getting a blink dagger. So it's not that ideal, but it is a hero that does indeed disrupt Vici Gaming's plan. I'm wondering if what they have in mind is strong enough to get an early enough advantage to get those towers down early, which is what you mentioned. That's what they are banking on. That's where they're going to get their gold advantage from at the start, and that's what they're going to try and steamroll through a bit. But it's so difficult because this patch doesn't really cope well with steamroll through lineups, because it's so easy to make the game even again. Not specifically make a comeback, but at least to nullify the gold differences that come from towers.
Yeah, most definitely. So it really comes down to not only gaining that momentum, but holding it and making the smart plays and precise movements. And I gotta really rely on FY on that one. I mean, he's just plays such a great Wisp, knows exactly when he needs to be in whatever position. But Invictus Gaming have a draft advantage here in the sense that they've already kind of laid the groundwork to survive through the laning phase, which is one of the more difficult time periods to go up against IO and Tiny. Remaining. The Viper can go in the mid lane here, a couple points of corrosive skin, and he'll tank through the initial burst. And Earthshaker can always kind of be that counter initiator, that counter roamer. He can always move towards the mid lane, prevent the death of the Viper, and make it so that IO is just kind of going for rune control, and that's about it. On the Dire side, of course, you don't have really any pull options, and you're pretty much just always going to be looking to pick up runes every 2 minutes. Luckily, there are 2 runes, so it's unlikely that IG will cover both of them unless the Wolves go for denies. But it's still worth noting that they have some answers already in place. The Earthshaker was a pretty good response, as you mentioned, and it also screws up Faceless Void quite a bit. You might be moving around at max movement speed, or at least 1,000 movement speed, but when you're blocked by that Fissure, it's a huge obstruction. They have to walk all the way around and can very frequently separate him from his target.
Yeah, you can, in theory, time walk over it, of course, but normally you use that to get in to get the chrono up. Or you're not having enough mana because he's not that high on intellect hero, of course. So, yeah, that is a very valid point as well. VG Gaming taking into their bonus time to decide what they're going to be banning out next. And talking about bonus time, it's a luxury that IG does not have anymore. So, they're probably pretty happy that VG Gaming is using this time so they can use their time as well. One more hero needed for both teams, of course. We've got, you mentioned the lanes for IG already. They're lacking an offlane hero. VG Gaming looking to ban one out. Nature's Prophet still in the pool. Not a very particularly strong hero against VG Gaming, but might be nice to add to the push. What do you think?
I think Nature's Prophet has a lot of merit to both sides because the global aspect of the Wisp is always got to be on people's minds. So by kind of seeing where their moves are going to be through the relocate circle, it's actually going to be a no-ban strat for Vici. Let's just make sure there's no disconnects here. Oh, boy.
I can't check the chat because it's not... Yeah, oh, there it is. Oh. There's a lot of people.
FY didn't show... Oh, he disconnected a lot sooner. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, this is a full disconnect on their side. The draft went almost all the way through. The Earthshaker wasn't a random, I don't think, but
I guess we have to leave, right, then?
10 seconds.
Presumably, yeah.
Presumably,
yeah.
Yes.
5 seconds.
I have seen some attempts to reconnect back into drafts. It looks like the admin has reconnected.
Yes.
But Doom is going to be a random.
Yeah,
so
that's not actually.
they definitely have
a
to
hero,
remake
guys.
one way or another.
Yes. Well, that is gonna leave us with just guessing what the last picks and bans would have been.
Yeah, I mean, Doom's not honestly not all that bad, but like you mentioned, the Nature's Prophet is pretty cool. The Enigma, and actually something that's been more frequent for the offlane recently is Jakiro. It's kind of weird, but it has its own place, and the Ice Path is really good
10
to see
seconds
Relocate
remaining.
coming and to immediately get the chain stun combo off. The Ice Path
5
into
seconds
Fissure,
remaining.
etc., could cause IO and Tiny some real trouble. So I would maybe think like Enigma or Jakiro, but we'll have to wait. Maybe they'll work it out on paper off the machines while they go for the remake, or maybe we will go for a full redraft. I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll see in just a moment.
there's no remake up yet in terms of lobbies. The admin did just disconnect, so I'm always kind of hesitant to actually leave the game because
Yeah.
what if they're gonna continue? But the admin just keeps connecting and connecting back in, so that's a bit troublesome. Actually, everybody already left. Let's leave. You can do this. I left the game. Diego. Sorry, that's a cat. Oops. Well, that means we're just waiting and guessing until the game continues, and that is a good time to just bring everybody up to speed. First of all, yes, you were expecting BTS to be here, at least, you know, you are on the BTS channel, but I mean, actual BTS casters, unfortunately, they have an internet outage that they hope to have fixed, hopefully within the next coming hours. And until then, both Blaze and myself are here to provide you with a cast, because otherwise, you know, you do want to see these matches because they're quite good, actually. And glad you're with us. On top of that, I was gonna say something really useful and I forgot. So I don't have anything anymore. I can link the brackets actually. I mean, we everybody knows that this is a double elimination bracket. This is the last match of 4 first round matches in the quarterfinals of the upper bracket. I can do some spoilers. A winner of this match is gonna face Alliance. We already mentioned that, so that's not technically a spoiler. Already the other semifinals is also known. It will be Newbie taking on Cloud9. And I did give plenty of time for people to mute the stream to stop spoilers from happening as well. So, should be some good matches. All those matches are played tomorrow. I'm not actually sure if that actually is going to be the winner's bracket first, but the schedule is kind of loose, it seems, because there were games scheduled at the same time and they ended up not being at the same time. So it's all a bit searching in terms of which game is when. But if you tune into BTS tomorrow, you won't miss a thing because they'll be able to tell you everything. Everything that you ever wanted to know, as we have everybody reconnecting back in under different names. And I think that someone leaked the password or something in Chinese, because these are not the players, are they?
They're all the same icons, so it must just be their Steam IDs not
Okay.
registering for the full English translation. But yeah, this is all the, at least on the side of Vici Gaming, is all the same, and it looks to be the case for IG as well.
Yeah, well then we'll be back in the game shortly as we get everything fixed. Since we don't actually know what the issue was to begin with, like why they started disconnecting, so perhaps that is a issue that is not fixed by just a remake.
We'll have to see here, but for now, the mode remains Captain's mode, at least for the moment, and yeah, we'll look to jump back into it. If these are doppelgangers, then they're very convincing ones, as they all have the same icons. But looks like we're all ready to go from both sides, and there now we have the nice little set in stone names, and we're going right back into it.
Yep, and that means that we're soon into our last match of the day, best of 3, game 1. It's not an elimination match, so I kind of normally think that if it's not an elimination match, people can come with the weirder stuff and still feel safe enough because there is a lower bracket. Although this does, like the draft that they have right now is not really out of the box. Are you expecting anything out of the box? Because we haven't really seen anything like that today yet, have we? Apart from maybe Crystal Maiden pickup. But apparently that was picked up yesterday as well in a match.
Okay, well, it's just in this position, you have the safety net, so you don't have to really reveal your new meta tactics, but I don't think this is the time for experimentation. You do go for scrims for that. You pull it out as a pocket strat when you've practiced it before and you say, okay, we need this to win. But as far as pulling it out now, that's only going to just kind of reveal your potential strategies for later, and there's just no value in it. So kind of going with what they've already shown to IG over the past couple of months, I would have to say that that might be the better strategy overall for getting the most out of the tournament. We are seeing some failures though. Loading into the game,
Oh,
actually, everybody's out, so it might be
where's the out button? There it is.
take 3.
Take 3. Well, we'll, actually, we're gonna do one more time. No, but we'll be right back. We're gonna just take a quick break and see if everything loads in. When everything is loaded in, we'll be back with you with the first match of the, or last match of the day, rather, the first match of the best of 3, first game of the best of 3. So, stick around. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Hi there, welcome back. We've got ourselves the continuer of the game, so we're back in the draft. And actually, I believe they actually loaded from halfway through the draft, so we haven't missed a single thing. Here we are again, welcome back. Blaze, Vici Gaming versus IG, game 1 of a best of 3 in the quarterfinals of the WCA LAN finals in China.
Turn to ban.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Invictus
So we just
Gaming's
replicated the
turn
draft,
to
pick for pick, ban for ban, and now got to this final phase. We're going to see the Witch Doctor and Bat Rider taken out, and Invictus Games is going to go the Puck in this case here. So a hero that can definitely go on the off lane and actually can survive the relocate ganks very well. In fact, he can even potentially survive Chrono if he sees it coming, starts with the orb, phases before the sphere, affects him, then he's actually able to jaunt out. So there's some real potential with this hero in general, and I definitely think that that's a really smart choice from Invictus Gaming, but we'll have to see how well they play it on that off lane, as I believe that's going to be the only way they can really run it here. In the meantime, Vici Gaming, they've got a full set of reserve time if they want it, but I'm pretty sure they have a good idea in mind of the other support they want here.
They definitely had enough time to think about what they wanted to do here. I have to say, if they go for lanes like you explained earlier with a Faces Void off lane, Death Prophet safe lane, Tiny IO mid, then you'd have a Puck versus a Death Prophet on the top lane, which would actually be quite decent for Puck to be dealing with. So I think it's I also really like the pick for IG. A lot of control coming with that, of course, and setting up for potential fissures or hexes or shackles and whatnot. So really liking that one. Not sure how aggressive they can be early on. Earthshaker is overall a fairly passive hero in terms of he can keep your carry safe. Normally doesn't rotate around too much other than that. Shadow Shaman could be aggressive, but also is a kind of a slow hero and also needs a lot of levels. So if his gank actually fails, he will be not having a big of impact as he wants to have, which he could have if he actually just continues stacking and pulling and gets experience that way. So I'm curious to see how much we're going to see early on in the game, because I think that's going to be detrimental for Vici Gaming's lineup, because if they're not interrupted in their laning stage, I think things are looking pretty good for them. And that might be scary for IG later on in the game. But seeming like they actually almost use all of the almost 2-minute bonus time that they have, thinking carefully about what their last pick here is. A Nature's Prophet.
So I'm curious how they actually want to run this one here, because we have actually seen I'm going to say on multiple teams. I've only seen it once actually. Puppy on Team Secret has run a support Nature's Prophet. Not only starts in the jungle, but really plays a number 4 position as far as what he builds up, and even like starts off with wards and Cory and stuff like that. It's a little weird because obviously we mostly picture the Furion as a core hero, but in this case, there's a lot of merit to actually running it in a supportive sense, because FY definitely needs that bottle. Ice and him communicate very well when it comes to the IO Tiny combo. And yeah, Fenrir is going to be running the Furion to start things off. So 1v1 lane up top most likely, and Furion will just try to take as much out of the jungle as he can, and IG don't really have the heroes to contest.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm quite curious to see this too. It could be a bit too greedy, but as said, it's not like IG has got this really aggressive roaming lineup lined up, so he's not really needed on any of the lanes. Void, Void and Death Prophet can do by themselves just fine. The IO doesn't need anybody else but Tiny, or rather vice versa. Tiny doesn't need anybody else but IO, so you have basically got a slot where you can pick anything you want. And they ended up going for the Nature's Prophet, which, yeah, I could definitely see this work. It's nice. Also, I'm seeming to have already quite a bit of server lag coming out from here, unfortunately.
Yeah. I'd recommend doing either a quick reconnect or a quick Dota 2 reconnect. Turn that off and on. Usually will work out for you. But at least for now, it's just going to be passive. No first blood movement. No major smoke ganks or anything like that. We do have some nice boots up on Chuan, so he can go in for the startup of the Earthshaker, Shadow Shaman, Roam. But it's going to be pretty passive to start things off. Fenrir is actually going to kind of split it 50-50 with the Wisp as far as responsibilities. Wisp will pick up the Courier, and Fenrir will pick up the wards. So he still gets a little bit of early movement towards his Basilius, while the Wisp will be delayed only slightly in his bottle. 475 out of 700 gold. But yeah, just starting things up. It's going to be Bounty Rune for Puck, double damage rune for Lycan, and Lua is going to take that, of course, to the safe lane. to go up against, I guess, yeah, not only Black's off lane, but also Fenrir supporting him down bottom.
Yeah, I did end up going for a reconnect because, well, if I can fix that, then I should try it. Figured maybe the best way to do it. So hopefully we're not missing anything. As you mentioned, it looked like a fairly passive start, and that's no surprise because both teams seem to be kind of happy with just going for their lanes like they're meant to, going for their just solid, stick to themselves, only get something if you're actively seeing someone overcommit, or if you're going for a smoke gank or something of the sorts. But other than that, I think it's in both interests of the teams, or best interest of the teams, to just win the lanes, try to focus on the lanes, and not really doing too much else apart from that one.
So Fenrir's going to make some nice early movement here with the Nature's Call. He's actually going to do what we see normally the offlane Nature Prophet do, is use the treants to block the pole spawn. So that's not going to be a pole camp available for Chuan, and they're not going to be able to control the Creequilibrium. And as we saw with 6.82, the Creequilibrium shift for the Dire offlane is much more favorable towards their tower. So by default, if the pole is unavailable, the creep wave is going to be continuously pulling back so that Black can find some farm and most importantly that nice experience. So Fenrir already kind of creating that opportunity for him through these summons, and he's just going to keep rinse and repeating that. There's nothing to stop him.
Well, my first load failed, so hopefully the second one will let me into the game and I can actually see what you're talking about, because it's pretty difficult to talk about a game if you don't see it.
Sure enough. But for now, it's as you would expect. We're going to see Ice take some harassment, but he's got the Stout Shield. He tangos up, and the only really interesting thing is how many stacks are really coming out for FY. He's actually got a ton of stacks. Well, unfortunately, some Mud Golems, but still, it looks like a triple stack on the East, as well as in the what used to be the easy camp. Now it's a medium one, but it's still loaded up with a lot of stacks they can clear out very effectively with the Avatos combo.
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't look like this load is going to happen either, so I'm going to just continue to press load like I did during the draft. I did end up loading in at some point, but hopefully that will be 3 times the charm, even though seems problematic.
I'm sure the reconnect will happen like 5 seconds after first blood.
No.
Just because.
No.
But at least for now, it's really just Chuan helping out Ferrari in the middle a little bit, trying to make it a 2 versus 2 type situation. But down bottom, Black plus Fenrir are going to make it a little bit more difficult for Luo. Like, Luo's obviously trying to farm up on the Lycan as best he can. He goes for a 1-1-1 build, but for now he's only found 8 CS, and it's actually Black to outpace him there. He's going to be able to farm up nicely and move in towards, the standard Poor Man's Shield, Treads, Mask of Manus type build up.
Okay, well, I am actually back in the game. However, this is more like than I've ever had it before, so this was not the right call to be doing, as everybody is stuck in place, and this is not even slideshow Dota. I wish it was. It's
yeah.
I don't know if you have the stream on, but it's pretty bad.
I've experienced it. I certainly have. With the TI4 Chinese qualifiers, did a little bit of that for the EU hub, and yeah, that was brutal when I didn't go for a full reconnect. But when I closed out Dota 2 and then reopened it and reconnected back to the game, it was working perfectly fine. That might be an option.
That's
but
what I just
I'll
did.
do a... Oh, so you did a full reconnect. Okay, I don't have an answer for you then. We're going to have a first blood up top. It is going to be the death of the Death Prophet. Chuan got a nice shackles off there, and June will be able to finish him off. But now the rotation comes through. They get the toss under the tower. Fenrir just is the ammunition to catapult towards the Shadow Shaman, and in the end they make it a 1-for-1. But the first blood's still spilling in favor of the Radiant IG take it, and it's June's puck to claim it. But that ammunition turns into a bit of an overextension. Nature Prophet being thrown under the tower without a TP available. He is cleaned up by Ferrari in the end, so it makes it a 2-for-1 in favor of IG.
Yeah, I'm gonna reconnect again because this is like not even watchable. I can show the Teamfight recap, but so you're on your own with the radio cast again.
Sure enough. Well, we'll see Fenrir make his rotation back down bottom. Already tired of what the shenanigans going on the top lane, but they don't really have the control to bring down the Lycan here. He's just going to eat a few auto attacks, but other than being zoned out a little bit by Fenrir, he's not actually like feeling the direct impact. And honestly, that's not the point of the Nature Prophet. Other than a little bit of lane contribution, the big thing here is that Fenrir will be able to join the relocates and essentially make any movement at least a 3-hero movement, if not 4. So, yeah, we'll see him being more active as he gets some level progression. For now, FY is bottle crowing so that he can help sustain Ice on the lane.
Yeah, sorry for the inconvenience, people. Unfortunately, nothing that I can do to help it move along. I just hope that I get a good load, and then I can actually see the game. And you can actually see the game as well.
Ferrari here is going for a 2-1-2 build. He already has a magic stick up, knowing there's a lot of spells being cast out, so he's able to survive through most movement from Vici Gaming. Unless they add in the Nature's Prophet on top, that might be a little bit much for him, but he's keeping one Tango in reserve to make sure that's not going to be an issue. Up on the top lane, Super is going to be disabled up. The puck delivers a lot of magical burst damage, but it's going to be the chain disables from Chuan and Cheesebug that really net them the kill. So obviously Death Prophet starting off a little shaky on the safe lane. They wanted to reserve the farm for her, get her a good start, but IG have other plans in mind, and they're able to start her off 0-2, and she also goes for the bottle in the safe lane. So she really doesn't have that much as far as like hard net worth, and she's going to have slow progression. We do see FY does get a bounty rune to bottle up, and he's going to need that restoration, as ISS is taking a lot of harassment on the mid lane.
Yeah, I'm back into the game, but it seems like the issues persist, so perhaps Dota TV is the best option to go for here. I mean, I just saw a smoke pop with Chuan and the Earthshaker, but I can't really see where they're going because it's so laggy.
Sure, try Dota TV, and we'll switch over to that if that's better for you.
I hope it works. Because if I go for Dota TV, then I can't reconnect back into the game, can I?
I guess not. I don't believe so. We're going to see a little skirmish here, going back and forth. We might be recapping this 2 minutes from now, but right now it's going to be Super dropping the Exorcism. There's already a lot of kills flying back and forth. Tiny and Nature's Prophet will both fall, but in exchange for the Viper, the Shadow Shaman, it's going to be Luo and June to try to clean it up, though. Right-clicking down onto FY. Oh, Luo! Dropping so low, the last right click will be delivered, and Black with the Chronosphere to save the day and pull this back in favor of Vici Gaming. They throw the ammunition, once again, FY right onto the puck, but he will salve up, and it's only going to be Fenrir's TP and then Sprout to bring him down. Avatar's coming out, nice phase shift from June, but in the end he will be cleaned up, and it's a triple kill for Black. Now the Fisher block them in. Oh, a huge Fisher. There's a time walk out for Black. He gets the easy escape, but Ice not so fortunate. The disables from Chuan, locking both him and Fenrir down. It looks like it's going to be another death for the Nature's Prophet. A bloodbath in the Radiant Jungle and across the bottom ruin spawn. The overall fight recap only shows a small portion of the action, but the tail end of that really favoring IG.
Yeah, I just waited for that fight to be over before going to Dota TV because, yeah, I'm gonna leave the game. No other option, really. Why don't I see the game being live? This is a problem. Oh, they're on the professional, not on the premium.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, I was hoping they didn't forget to add the Dota TV ticket.
That would have been a problem. Oh, you're gonna load again! Yay. Once again, people apologize for the inconvenience. Oh, look! Oh, we are with the smoke! We can see the whole fight again.
Awesome. That was a good one, too, so... I'll switch over and join you there. For those in Dota TV listening to my voice right now, we are unfortunately not going to be continuing our commentary in the client, as there's just too many issues connecting to it via the Perfect World servers. But top off for now, and we'll see you on the stream.
Yeah, we'll see Ice getting a shackle and killed off. I know this fight's already happened, but it's fun anyways. Viper gets picked up. Luo in some trouble, or Shaker looking for maybe getting out, maybe reconnecting it for a Fisher later on. Super, getting his exorcism going, will end up getting picked off here. It feels weird casting a fight that we already know what's gonna happen, because there's gonna be a Chronosphere. Hey, look at that, and Black coming in, just cleaning up. With the FY making it out alive, Black already got a double. Will probably get a triple kill, but I already knew that, so I'm not, psychic.
Such predictions.
Such predictions. Watch out. Avalanche coming out, the toss as well, and yeah, that's gonna be the triple kill coming out there for Black. And the smoothness is insane. Nice Fisher coming out still for the Earthshaker as he's back in things with Chuan as well. Fenrir trying to walk away, gets hexed up. Chuan is not gonna let him escape. Ice already dropped, and Fenrir will be one hit away from dying as well. There he goes, can't teleport out. And I don't have Teamfight recap as a... Okay, you do. Oh, you do.
There it is. But it's... Yeah, those are only the last 3 deaths there,
yeah.
so...
That didn't really.
I think Black got a lot out of that, though. Obviously, he's got Treads, Aquila, Poor Man Shield, as well as 900 gold, so he's feeling pretty good about how that one worked out. That's not how they wanted to spend their first Exorcism, but you have to remember that they are fighting pre-relocate, so they don't get the full positioning advantage. They're just taking the fights kind of scrappy, and although IG are leading on kills, I still think Vici Gaming's cores are reaching the progression that they need to.
Yeah, Super has got himself his face boots. He's just having a happy time on top. And when he was involved in all those fights, you actually will get Dream Coiled as June thinks he can make a go on him. He has got some help, but his help is far away. Help in the form of Chuan and Earthshaker. But I think that June kind of jumped the gun there, because if everybody was a bit closer, that could have been a kill. However, this time June will get away. He still has a full bottle as well, so it's not like he has to go back to base.
Yep. In the meantime, Ice and FY are going to farm up a triple and quadruple stack here, getting a lot of gold for themselves and moving into level 6 on FY. So already going to be looking for opportunities. Maybe not on the Lycan. I'm not sure if he's actually a good target or not because of the shapeshift transformation time, but any other non-mobile target is going to be easy pickings.
And that's the one that they wanted to do earlier on. This time everybody is there in time. The fish are blocking the escape, and they will get the kill on the Death Prophet. It might still get a return kill here for Vici Gaming though, as they lock in Luo on the Earthshaker. And Avalanche coming in as well. There's no getting out of this one, so they get a return kill. Did force out rotation of 3 people. So in the end, still a worthy trade for IG for sure, especially since it gives a bit of push potential here on this middle lane.
Dire's structures are fortified.
So they're going to force a fortify very early here with Luo's Wolves, and they have some real potential there. But Ice, he's getting mana back. FY gradually gets the restoration from Urn, but he really wants his 10-minute rune if they want to contest. He needs to bottle up a rune. They're going to find it. 100% chance to spawn there, of course, now. And he does get a DD to bottle up and go in for the counter gank here on the mid lane.
Yep, Avalanche tossing it back into Super. Exorcism coming out as well. Viper has got that mechanism, and Ferrari will be able to just heal up and walk back. June's here. Dream Coil is still there if he wants it. Gets it out. Down goes Ice. And a Fisher coming out to block the other 2 off. Perhaps they want to go in again. Viper strike up on Super. They're not going to chase it though. It's fighting it in the Exorcism is not a great idea. However, if they can already do this with fighting into an Exorcism, imagine what they could do if, you know, the Exorcism wouldn't have been there. They would have dived and they would have been able to kill everything and take the tower as well.
The Exorcism is a very long cooldown now. It's actually going to be the longest cooldown that they have to worry about in this game here. So in this position, dropping down the Mass Serpent Wards, they almost guarantee this tier 1. At the very least, it's going to fall. It may, however, be denied by Vici Gaming.
Yeah, the Naya comes out. Good for them. In the meantime, FY is having some issues with Wolves. And this is actually something that right now seems like something harmless, but this will turn into kills if this continues. It's level 4 Wolves, but every time if there's a team fight and those Wolves are put in that Io is going to have a very tricky time on trying to get his overcharge up, as well as dealing with the Wolves at the same time.
So we're 11.5 minutes in here. Ice is progressing towards his drums very quickly, but looking at the cores on the side of Invictus Gaming, we already see the Vladimir's is going to be progressed towards very quickly by Luo. The Blink Dagger is about 1,300 gold off for June. And then, of course, Viper, we've already talked about. He has his mechanism, now his treads. So he has the mana to sustain his mechanism by tread swapping to intelligence. But
bottom lane, Lycan getting picked off. Their Chronosphere was used. And VG Gaming get out with a kill. Relocate used. It's a good success. Missed that kill, but Black also doing really well, sitting on 3-1. 3-0-1 rather in terms of kills. He is highest up on last hits as an offlane void. That is pretty impressive. He's also highest on net worth. It is definitely a scary hero to see that high on the net worth. You still there?
Yep.
Yeah, you are.
Yes, I am. Maybe a little bit lag there, but
yeah, I think so.
Still, the Defender is going to be finding some nice farm in the Radiant Jungle, taking that for their own, but IG just turn the other cheek. They go out to the other side of the map. They get a nice combo of disables onto Ice. There is no relocate to bail him out, but look at the Avalanche toss! He actually gets a return kill for his troubles. And they're the ones that force the rotation. Now, bottom lane, Black is just going to right-click down some wolves, clear out towards the tier 2 tower, and of course Fenrir has the Nature's Call to back him up if they do want to go for the push.
Yeah, that is
Radiant's
was a
bottom
pretty
tower
scary
is under attack.
thing to have happen. IG, they lost their Earthshaker still, which, you know, overall for Tiny, I mean, if you're gonna die anyway because everybody basically jumps on you 5-on-1 and you're getting away with the kill, that's pretty good. And you create space for that Phases Void at the same time. I would say definitely worth your while. And it just is a bit troublesome for IG if they need to use so many resources and then not get as a convincing fight as they probably want to get. It's something that they have to be wary from because they can't let Black get too far ahead and they can't give too much space to everybody of Vici Gaming while they themselves are doing basically only ganking maneuvers and sitting around each other with trying to pick off heroes. They need to get some extra farm as well. Lycan is of course getting out some farm, but he's farming the jungle right now. Has got his Vlads up, which could mean that we are going to see a Roshan takedown soon. But we'll see, as it is quite an obvious thing to do.
Yeah, hard one to contest with just a single Treant scouting out Roshan occasionally. It could be a good option, but Exorcism will come out. Juke could just disengage from this, and that might be the waste of Exorcism, but Black says no, sir. Dropping the Chronosphere onto 2. Easy pickings for him, just tearing them apart with that Mask of Madness, and now they're in a position to take Rosh for themselves. Exorcism has only just begun, and they're going to be able to just wail away at Roshan.
Yeah, that is... That was just it was a ballsy Chronosphere because they do not have that much vision of the high ground. So that was just Black being very on point, very on the ball, and slightly out of position, I guess, from IG as well. They do not have any vision whatsoever on the side of the Roche pit. Actually, they do not have any vision at all. They do want to try and fight this though. They know that the Chronosphere is down. They know that the Exorcism is down. They can try this. They go for Ice Ice Ice. He gets tethered. Can he get tethered away? The overcharge is there and saving his life for the moment. And it is Black that IG turns on. They are able to get him, but they lost the Shadow Shaman already. Fenrir gonna try to teleport out. Will be able to do that. Is gonna survive all the poison damage in the fountain. And in the end, it's a 1-for-1 trade. But the Aegis is still in the hands of Ice Ice Ice, who managed to live through it all. And that was the kind of fight that IG should be able to take if they went in with so much and knew that there was no Chronosphere and no Exorcism. But they only got 1 kill, which is a good kill because it was a killing spree as well. I mean, don't get me wrong, Black definitely is a good target to take down, but it's not what they wanted.
Yeah, definitely. With the cooldown advantage, you expect a little bit more, but they just don't have the range of initiation right now with like Blink Dagger and such. They got in a little bit late. Vici Gaming responded appropriately. Now they're going to go on to Cheesebug, and it looks like he's just going to be 1-2 punch down. FY is even still here getting hexed up, but he's got the spirits. You might be able to turn some damage on the opposition, but for now they're just going to take this newly forged path through the tree line, and FY is going to be able to tether away from this Viper.
Yep, and that's going to be 3 kill basically. They don't get the tower, which maybe they came for, but a good kill nonetheless, and a very aggressive ward placed as well, which is very good if you have got that relocate and Nature's Prophet as well, of course. You can just be there with 3 people in no time. If someone is hiding behind the tower, you'll know and you can take that person down with relative ease. At the same time, pressure is applied on the bottom lane as well. Black and Fenrir continue to push, and that's gonna be Lycan in trouble. Chronosphere used, the Fisher still comes out, and that's delaying it. And that's actually allowing C to live, and Black is actually gonna die because of that Echo Slam even being used for that one. In the meantime, Viper is able to kill off the IO and the Tiny as well, at least once, because the Aegis gets popped. Let's see if they can do it again. The Shackle gets interrupted already by the Avalanche. And Ice Ice Ice, is he gonna try and turn this around? Relocate coming in here, as well as an Exorcism Death Prophet. And then they want to try and make a comeback, or at least get revenge for taking the Aegis, taking the IO. Ferrari tries to teleport out, will be able to do so, but at least they got the Shadow Shaman. And they made sure that they get that. And with the Exorcism up, they can probably take this tower down as well.
Yeah, they'll take the tower for sure, but it's not what they wanted. Down bottom lane with that Chronosphere initiation onto the Lycan, what they wanted was the relocate to come through with Ice Ice Ice. They wanted to bring him down bottom and make it just a 4 versus 2 play on that tier 2. But the Viper and Shadow Shaman had other plans. The Wisp ran out of mana, he got disabled, and they were able to pick them apart by taking down the Medic, taking down the IO. The Tiny was easy pickings, and the Aegis was the price. So, in the end, Vici Gaming do fall a little bit further behind, although they do get the tower advantage at this point in the game. One other thing to mention, of course, is that we are going to be seeing some real progression for the Nature Prophet as he moves in towards a Blade Mail, but we aren't going to be seeing as much for the Wisp. He is going for the Mechanism, but he just bought back, and that critical item is going to be delayed significantly.
Yeah, that is definitely a shame, as VG does want to try and take their advantages while they can get the towers early on with the exorcism. As it's going to get tougher to fight into them because you are going to end up trading towers against that Lycan, of course. The Lycan, however, I mean, I'm not too big of a fan of Lycan anymore, personally, and on the Radiant side, he's also slightly underwhelming normally as well, but in this game, he hasn't really had too big of an impact. He's been around, he's been in the fights, that's for sure, but he's not really been able to like make it possible for me to say like, okay, that's really where the Lycan shines, and that's really why IG is getting ahead this game. It's not the Lycan that is specifically as a hero doing amazingly well. Avalanche coming out, June in some trouble, will still have a phase shift. Can he do it? No, he doesn't do it. He ends up going down. The Hex comes out though, and Ice is in a bit too deep and will end up getting dropped there. So a 1-for-1 trade as Ice got left alone by his teammates. However, did create space for Black to take that tier 2 tower on that bottom lane.
Yeah, and it looks like they will be able to disengage at least for the moment. We do see a nice flank coming in from Ferrari though, and he should be able to get in Viper Strike range, very close, but knowing Black has the time walk, even if he guns for him right now, I don't see a chain stun combo coming out. Cheesebug could get a Fisher, but that's about it, and it'd be quite a reach. So instead, yeah, they lose the tier 2, and it's just a 1-for-1. I think Vici Gaming are definitely have forged their path back into this game. I mean, we do see the tower advantage kind of to be expected to fall in their favor with the Death Prophet, with the Nation Prophet, but you have to consider how little Chuan has been able to accomplish in terms of Mass Serpent Wards against towers. They've taken 2 tier 1s, and that's all.
Yeah, 1 more left standing. Towers are really in favor of Vici Gaming though, a bit less than I thought they would be able to get at this stage. But I guess that's also IG's lineup coming into play. Now with the Roshan down, with no towers being in takedown range, I mean the bottom tier 1 is of course the only one still, but it's still standing on full health. I think that IG, like, either they're gonna go for the tier 1 tower or they're gonna stick to their side of the map, I was gonna say. But Fenrir also stacked to their side of the map, and he's gonna pay for that. So, but they're probably just gonna continue sticking on their side of the map and trying to take as much farm as they can, trying to get the map control over their side. Because they can't really initiate on Vici Gaming, and that's going to be one of their problems. They need that Earthshaker to get a Blink Dagger, or even June to get a perfect Dream Coil off. Because even though he has a Blink Dagger, he's not really the best initiator against the lineup of Vici Gaming at this point.
Okay, Black has the Chronosphere here. This is a great opportunity, but June's going to be the one to start things off, and we're going to see Chuan come in from this flank.
Oh, and that's Chronosphere just for Chuan. Let's see, that's already 1 dead. They're gonna continue on the Lycan. He's kind of run away as he is very fast in his wolf form, but that's not really what IG was hoping for. And they might actually lose the Viper as well. In some trouble, gets a Viper Strike off on Ice. At least he can chase it. In comes a Fisher trying to delay the chase on Ferrari. Ferrari is now getting chased by Black and bashed as well. Will end up getting picked off, and this Earthshaker will be close to follow as well. The silence, the toss, down he goes. In comes June, trying to get what he can. At least he can get the IO, which is, you know, it's nice, but it's still just an IO. And June slowed up. It gets tossed up into the air, and 1 more hit will do it. Nice Hex though, and that might be trouble for Ice. Chuan, he died at the start of the fight. He didn't need to buy back. He's just that low level that he was already back in the fight. This fight indeed lasted that long. Died twice in the same fight, and he did get the Ice though, which is in a way worth it in the end. However, they still gradually, majorly lost that fight rather, and lost towers as well.
Yeah, they tried to kind of buy time so that they could keep the towers alive, but in the end, the tier 1 falls. The Mass Serpent Wards are essentially wasted, only to kill off the Tiny, and they still lost the kill exchange. So, Vici Gaming looking really good now. I mean, they've got the mechanism up on the Wisp. I think that's really been the linchpin of their lineup, is keeping heroes alive. And with the full components of Magic Stick, Bottle, Urn, and Mechanism, FY has all the tools he needs to accomplish just this. So, a lot of potential here, and they're going to start to be even more aggressive as they start to move across the map. Black, with Chrono off CD, going to refuel at the fountain, and essentially now he can fish for solo pickoffs with the Chronosphere, with the Relocate always available.
Yeah, and on top of that, there is of course the Nature's Prophet that can get there too. So, yeah, it's going to be very scary for IG to be alone on the map somewhere. Map control is going to be more and more important, and map vision because of that as well. But this time IG actually has got some nice wards up. making sure they see where Vici is, or rather where they are not, which is actually a pretty big deal as well. Because if you know where they are not, then you know where they could be at. Something that's often forgotten. It sounds so stupidly simple, but it's often something that that people don't realize that much. I think, by the way, you mentioned the mechanism now being done. Imagine if the mechanism would have been done at the previous fight. I think nobody of VG would have died. I think FY would have probably lived, and because of that, Ice would have lived as well. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Maybe IG wouldn't have committed so much, stringing themselves out, going in one by one if they knew that the mech was still up for the IO, but if it was a surprise to them, FY easily could have turned that fight and could have kept people alive. So, big pickup that they wish they had earlier, but they played the game as it was. They went for the buyback relocate play, and it was a game that I don't really think in the long run paid off, but they're in the place they want to be now, and that's the important thing. We're going to be seeing Ferrari moving out into the enemy jungle territory. They really want to find an opening on somebody farming this camp right here, but they're going to go out onto the lane, and that's where FY and ISIS have already made their retreat. There is going to be a Dream Coil onto FY. We'll go for the TP, and we'll be hexed out.
Yeah, he'll get picked off there. ISIS just got his Aghanim's though, and it looks like everybody of VG Gaming wants to fight black. Looks for the Puck. Puck is going to be able to blink away, but the Exorcism is already going, and they want to at least get something, and Chuan is going to be the black sheep in that case. So he'll get picked off. A lot of rotation used for VG Gaming to actually get to the top lane, and in the end the trade is even, but this trade is favoring IG, who only lose a Shadow Shaman and force out so many rotations from VG Gaming.
Yeah, it's almost like the exact opposite of the last fight. Losing that big cooldown here. Exorcism again is the biggest cooldown this game, and Super doesn't get much momentum off of that usage there. He's going to have his Bloodstone soon, but at this point in time, you really want to be building a huge amount of momentum behind it. And with Luo picking up the BKB, June pulling out some great Blink initiations, and also a nice little Houdini play escaping from a tough situation, it's going to be on Vici to really focus down, find a one good kill opening, and follow through with multiple heroes. They could even go for a 4-man movement on the back of Black's initiation, but we'll see.
Well, Fenrir has found himself in the hands of an Echo Slamming Earthshaker, and that might actually be his doom. Nice Sprout. Can he get out? Nope, I don't think he can. Not selling that Quelling Blade is paying off for this Lycan for sure. Luo gets the kill. And Nature's Prophet, I think he wanted to ward. Yeah, he just placed a ward. But yeah, they have a gem, so they'll be able to pick it off and take it down. So
Blink Dagger coming out for the Lycan. I really like this pickup with the new Shapeshift in particular. We did see it a little bit in 6.81. People that were just trying to ride a little bit harder, kind of taking that Nature's Prophet style and bringing it to the next level with this melee hero. But with the Shapeshift, it's even more important, because essentially that means that you can transform in the tree line and then blink into the fight and be immediately on your target. So a lot of potential for this item pickup, and even better just for dodging Chrono, dodging Relocate, things of that nature. It's really important to disengage as well.
Yeah, we've got ourselves Tiny going for Manta style. At least Yasha first. I mean, getting a bit ahead of his items, but really like the item. It is like you see sometimes something like an AC or something coming out from the Tiny, but I really like Yasha. It gives you some fast attack speed, and that Manta style later on is going to help you push so much, because you're going to try to take a fight and then delay the fight long enough for the Exorcism, and in this case also the Tiny Illusions, to take out the building. So good item choice, and Yasha is on his way now to to the bottom lane, because the smoke is going to be on the way first, and it's actually smoking up 3 heroes here for VG Gaming, with the IO and the Tiny always within reach because of the relocate, of course.
Now, FY finally picking up boots. This guy is one of the few with that just take a really, really long time to actually build up towards tier 1, tier 2 boots. And yeah, 27 minutes sounds like a good time for it. But though there are a lot of pros to the Manta style for the Tiny, I think it is a pretty huge item for him as far as mobility, and obviously you talked about the slow siege aspect. But one weakness that it does have is against the AoE clear of the Earthshaker. Yeah. If you're just adding Necronomicon warriors along with Nature's Call Treants and Illusions into that Echo Slam, it could be absolutely devastating if you're not careful.
Okay, I think that, yeah, IG is aware of this. They send a wolf in as well. Let's see if they can be fast enough to contest this. They will be fighting into the Exorcism and into a possible Chronosphere as well. June comes in first though. He jumps in, does not get the Aegis, does not get the Roche kill. Does, however, get a perfect Dream Coil, and they take the Aegis down instantly already. Black is going to be back in just a second. Super suicides after even healing up from his... Why did he do that? Black gets a good Chronosphere though, but can he actually do enough damage is the case. Ice gets turned into a sheep, can't really help out his buddy ult too much right now, and Black forced back, but he is chased down. Oh, the toss Tiny gets at least a kill. The Viper tosses him towards Black, and Black looking for a bash, can't get it though. 4 dead for 1, and I mean, I like that the suicide heals up people, but I wonder if it was necessary because Death Prophet was not close to dying. He just got healed back from his exorcism. But do you think it was a waste, or was it needed to save his team?
It could have possibly been the tipping point to keep a couple of heroes up long enough, specifically Black, but I don't think that was his intention in using it. And he probably, if he was looking to heal his teammates, he probably wasn't even looking at their HP bars right there. He was looking to just deny himself in the midst of that fight because he thought he was going down. He was down to about 20% HP, but then as soon as that exorcism ended, his health pool just shot up, and he was at about 50% by the time that he actually went for the suicide. So yeah, I think that it caught him off guard, the exorcism timing. He wasn't watching the buff that it provides, and that was a mistake. But in the end, it's not the most costly. They get the nice AoE heal, Black stays in the fight, and they're able to clean house. So overall, Vici Gaming can't be too unhappy with it, although it wasn't the original intention.
Yeah, Nice's Eyes actually is still going for the AC after Yash, so not finishing up his Manta style, probably due to reasons that you mentioned as well already, of course, with the extra illusions adding to the Echo Slam damage. One extra thing that happened during that fight was that the gem actually got taken by Vici Gaming. It was in the hands of IG Gaming, IG bought it, and now the gem is in the hands of VG, which is gonna give the map control over to VG Gaming completely. There's no wards up on the map apart from one on the side of IG, which is very aggressive ward, one that they probably, I would say not need, but maybe they're gonna need it right now, because Ice is getting a Dream Coil. Fisher tries to dodge it, Viper Strike coming out as well, Mechanism coming out. They are trying to chase out the IO, but IO is just relocating them out. Not that far though, or are they? Yeah, they're in the base, but they are gonna get some help. Vici Gaming is going for this. Fenrir is here, Super is here, and who can they find? It's just Earthshaker that they can find and take down. It's too late to try and get the Shadow Shaman. Maybe can Blacking still get something? No, he's too slow to jump forward and get Ferrara and June on the Chronosphere. They're still continuing with the push though, because why not? Sprout actually comes out. They're not done just yet. Ferrari is also able to TP out. Where are those disables?
Yeah, the Yules is on cooldown for about 2 more seconds. Very unfortunate. And yeah, they don't have the full chase as well as TP cancels. They have one or the other, but in this case, not both. They're still farming very well. They're getting the kills they need to keep IG on their side of the map. And with the lanes pushed in, IG are just not going to be able to farm as efficiently. They're certainly not going to be threatening any towers of Vici Gaming. And specifically the bottom tier 1 is huge for Roche control. The Vici Gaming need to be able to teleport to that very frequently, although they do have heroes that already have quite a global presence already. But let's say Black gets picked off right before a Roche fight starts, but has buyback. He can TP to the bottom tier 1, time walk into the pit, and drop the Chronosphere as needed. So it's still very important as a positioning tool, and it's going to be something that they want to keep pushed away from. So we do see wards placed at an aggressive position for pickoff potential, and the creep wave is always in favor of Vici, at least for the moment.
Yeah, that brings me to the next point, because Lycan, Shadow Shaman on the same team. Normally you expect towers to drop fairly fast if those two are on the team, but there's still even a tier 1 tower standing, as you just mentioned. All the tier 2 towers are still standing, and I think this just goes to show how much control VG actually have. Even just the idea of being able to get a relocate on top of you, as well as Nature Prophet teleporting in, just makes that IG doesn't really have any chance. Whoa, Black, whoa, Shackled, Echo Slam, they really don't like him. Dominating streak going to Chuan Shadow Shaman, so he's rich. Good pick off, but they really can't split push because of that relocate teleport combination. The scares there. However, if they're with 5, they're definitely also strong, as we just saw, and they are trying to take out the tier 2 here in this middle lane.
Oh, you do not base race a tiny IO. This would be a huge mistake. They're going to teleport back 2 heroes, maybe 3, trying to catch them out. The Dream Coil will connect, but the the relocate can follow this. He's got the mechanism. There's no disable to cancel relocate, but he is silenced, at least for the moment. Pop of the Manta, just getting the movement speed, and it's going to be June to blink forward, right into Chuan.
Oh, that is so much damage coming out. That's at least Tiny getting 1 kill. FY trying to do what he can, but he will go down in the end. Tiny is still fighting in this though. I'm not sure where he thinks he can go. He's waiting. He's trying to delay the fight for his teammates to come in, and they will come in. Tiny's still alive, and that might be a salvation there. No, he'll end up going down, but Super coming in, Fenrir coming in. Ferrari looks like he's one hit away from dying. Super and Fenrir taking a lot of damage from this wolf though. Deny is there, healing up Fenrir to full, but is it enough for him to get away? Is that Quelling Blade still there? Yes, it is. The bash is there, but it's not enough because they want to back off. I'm not sure why they decided to back off.
Well, Black's back up for one. He's got the Chronosphere, he's got movement speed, he's got a lot of right clicks,
that
and
is a pretty
Fenrir's
good
here.
reason. Yeah, that is a pretty good reason. One more hit, there goes their Shaker. But yeah, that one, like I saw that first hit bash, really good, and then like, they run. Why did they run?
Yeah, exactly.
Black is coming.
Exactly, yeah. Force to be reckoned with, to be sure. They're very happy that they were able to get the pick off there before we got the chance to use the BKB, but yeah, in the end, they still can't go for the full-out fight. Still, there was one major mistake that Vici Gaming made there in terms of coordination that might have cost them a potential life or two. There was essentially right when, okay, they're going for the relocate. We'll have to hold that thought. Chuan is going to be going down very quickly here, but it's Fenrir that gets hexed up out of his blade mail. Tiny's not here for it. It's going to be Io to get the last hit, just taking his buddy here and getting the easy kill while the Tiny is dead. You usually don't expect the relocates during that time frame. But in that last fight on bottom lane, there was an issue where as soon as Super jumped in with his exorcism, he used up the Lycan right when the Tiny was trying to avalanche him down. And a couple of right clicks after that avalanche, and that Lycan would have been down to 20% HP at most. But because he got Yules and essentially got the free escape from the avalanche, he didn't take any damage. He pops his BKB, and he just runs the rest of the targets over. So
Is
in
your
the
game
end,
stuck, by the way?
nope. Not at the moment.
My game is
Still.
like completely frozen. Ah! That sucks. I'm gonna just reconnect again. It's fired out of TV anyway. It's fine.
Sure enough. But Puck did pick up the Aghanim Scepter here, so nice little extra utility coming out from him. The long duration Dream Coil against the fact that it can, of course, pierce through BKBs, the stunning effect, and it can go up to 4.5 seconds. There's a lot of merits to this pickup here, and essentially that's what they're trying to do, is at the very least force the Tiny to go for a BKB with the pickup of this Aghanim Scepter, but as well with the Heaven's Halberd. Just trying to make it so that Tiny has to buy a BKB in order to prevent these debuffs from afflicting him in the first place.
Yeah, I'm trying to connect back in. It's taking a while because... Ah, there we go. I'm seeing them frozen. Did they put...
Everybody
I'm
is
just-
alive and well, moving about. There will be an Exorcism on the mid tier 2, as well as a double damage room from Super. So this tier 2 is going to drop really quickly, and I don't think IG are ready to rally for this just yet. June's waiting with a smoke, but there is no opening. The Exorcism is just a little bit too strong in full force here, and them going in would be kind of suicidal without knowing Black's positioning in particular. But for now, it's just going to be tier 2 for Exorcism, and they will fall back, farm up a little bit of the Radiant Jungle in the meantime, but otherwise spread the map, while as IG then move on the offensive.
Yeah, my game is completely frozen. I'm not sure why. Like, there's no reason why Dota TV should be frozen, right?
As far as I know, I mean, obviously that's still the Perfect World Dota TV servers, but I really don't have any answer there. The connectivity shouldn't be that bad.
I just jumped forward. Oh,
The
God.
Great Firewall of China.
The Great Firewall of China is getting to me, though. It's so annoying. Apologies for the inconvenience once again. And hopefully it will sort itself out, because it does seem to be moving a bit again. Hopefully it will continue to go. Although you said the tier 2 mid was already fallen, right?
Yes, the tier 2 mid has been taken down by Vici Gaming. It is no longer standing for IG.
Well, it's still standing for me. I even pressed play and pause and stuff and go live. Oh, no, it's gone. I'm gonna reconnect.
Oh yeah, the go live, yeah. Huh. Sure
Yeah,
thing. Roshan's
I
gonna be
figured
respawning and
Maybe I pressed pause by accident,
yeah,
but I didn't.
that would be the easy fix.
Yeah,
but
that would
it's
be the easy
it's never easy for us, is it?
No.
Oh well. Again, reminder guys, this is a best of 3. It's only game 1. There were a lot of delays getting into it with the draft disconnects and stuff like that, but we're 38 minutes into game one of this best of three series. We could be going the distance. We'll have to see. For right now, I definitely say Vici Gaming have a significant advantage. I mean, 15,000 gold, 12,000 net worth or experience, and then of course the fact that Roche is about to respawn and they're in the best position to take it. But there's still some hope for IG. Obviously, the Lycan can build up his Bastion into Abyssal Blade, so Lua has some good hard lockdown against that Tiny. And they do have BKB up on him, so he won't be hit by the craggy exterior. But still, with him not being the only threat, the Faceless Void, as well as the Death Prophet being a very real threat, if they take this Roshan, get Aegis and Cheese, it's going to be extremely difficult for IG to bring this back.
Yeah, it is. They are getting further and further behind, it feels, in terms of, like, they're only playing reactive Dota at this point.
Mm-hmm.
They can only go in when they know that there's no exorcism available. And if there is, well, they can't fight. It's that simple. And it's not going down to the exorcism alone. You have got Black that is quite farmed as well. And, oh, I selected a caster. That's not good.
So we will see not only the Shiva's picked up on Death Prophet, but she is carrying the cheese, as well as a regen rune bottled up, so a lot of longevity throughout the team fights is going to bode very well for her. AC is also going to be picked up for Tiny, though it does mean Ice 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 is without buyback, at least for the moment. Either way, we do have starting to rally the troops movement. They want to make use of that Aegis sooner rather than later with its only 5-minute timer, but still they also want to make sure that they don't fall behind in farm, and they are so far just kind of parked in their jungle, building up towards Scythe of Ice on Fenrir, as well as a potentially more offensive item for the Faceless Void.
Yeah, this is unwatchable still, by the way. Everybody is just standing still for me.
Oh boy. I don't know.
I'm hoping for you to give a solution or something.
Well, honestly, I've had issues in the past, but they've never been that dire. But
well, yeah, I guess European connections are a bit different than compared to
definitely.
American ones, so far than less from the ideal. Far from.
Yeah, not good at all. But I mean, I really don't have a full answer. The connectivity there is still something that, like, you require a network engineer plus a politician in order to get full 100% secure connectivity to guarantee your passage through the Great Firewall of China. But otherwise, I mean, VPNs obviously are a long-term way of improving the conditions, but no guarantees. I don't know. It's tough. It really is from just a technical standpoint. We're going to see just a little bit from radio broadcast land. Super's going to be exercising the bottom tower, forcing the fortification, but Tiny's up top, where the fortification is going to end, and they're going to be taking 2 tier 3s at once, splitting their forces, so even if they lose a fight in one position, they can use the Chronosphere to delay, and they're going to be taking racks left and right. Ice 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 takes the melee racks up top, Chuan dying practically to the illusions here of Ice Ice Ice, one hit away from death against those illusions, but in the meantime, while they're running from these fakes, they lose bottom and top lane of racks, both melee and range. They just can't hold against all this siege, and they're afraid of that Chronosphere, very afraid. The Aegis and the cheese, just too much for them to deal with. Io and Tiny are ready to relocate, but they don't even have to. They just chonk down on the mid racks, and that's gone too. All 6 are gone. IG calls GG. They don't even put up a fight in the end. It's actually quite anticlimactic.
Yeah, that is very anticlimactic, because it was going to reload again, and then there was no game left.
Wow. That one went quick. I mean, obviously, with the Aegis and the cheese, they didn't really have a good fight to take no matter what, but you'd assume they'd at least go in for the Echo Slam.